Just another beautiful day on October the 27th, but it seems that all throughout the world there is turmoil. In British Columbia, it is quite quiet and peaceful, but in Ontario, we've had other things happen. Floods, cancer, tornadoes. What next? This family was struck really hard, and this is from the Monday, September 24th paper. But this happened not too long ago, in September. Yes, even in Canada, we get hit with tornadoes, we get hit with floods, we get hit with hurricane force winds, earthquakes, you name it. It doesn't just happen in the Caribbean, it doesn't just happen in Africa, it doesn't just happen. It happens all throughout the world right now. A resilient family tackles the latest setback, an emotional roller coaster ride. I read the story. A tornado struck their house, and a terrible thing it was. This happened in Ottawa, but nothing like the hurricane that has swept their lives. Nicole Loden, an Ottawa paramedic, is outside the crisis center at West Carleton Secondary School on Sunday, finally eating something. Days of retrieving items scattered to the winds in Friday's catastrophic tornado in Dunrobin. Let me show you something. She pulls out her cell phone camera to illustrate how the storm blew her daughter's bedroom right out of the house, and mostly knocked her son's room to bits, the ceiling replaced by sky. I guarantee you, I can say this without a doubt, my husband saved my life and my son's life. And that is but the half of it. Loden, her husband, here he is right here. And that is but the half of it. Loden, their husband Brian, and their 3 children survived the floods at nearby Constance Bay at spring of 2017, barely keeping the surging Ottawa River from entering the waterfront home. If not for shoulder-high sandbags and non-stop pumping, their home of 20 years might have been overwhelmed. But inside it stayed dry. We didn't get water inside the house, but at one point we were completely surrounded after the floods. They sold their home, and just weeks before it sold, their daughter, now 22, was diagnosed with stage 2 lymphoma. She has now undergone 8 of 12 scheduled chemo treatments. Nicole says the prognosis is good. Had it been any other day, their daughter, who was at a friend's place, might have been recuperating in her room that Friday during a storm that was strong enough to pick up cars and tear houses in half. She lost all her possessions. Floods, cancer, tornado, what next? I try to be positive, but it's getting harder and harder. I really feel like we're being tested. I'm a God-fearing woman, but I'm confused right now. On Sunday, near a swamp, she found her daughter's pajamas and then spotted a healing quilt made by a good friend hanging in a tree. Standing there, Loden wraps her fleece a little tighter against a chilling breeze, hugs herself a little, and chokes back a little tear. She has spent a good deal of time this weekend doing the what-ifs in her mind. On Friday afternoon, she arrived home, and Daniel, her son, tired from a day of work, was asleep upstairs. Brian, a volunteer firefighter who was doing duty at the nearby Carp Fall Fair, there's Brian right there again, volunteer firefighter, arrived home early because of the severe weather warning. Just as she was shutting windows upstairs against the rain and wind, she heard a scream from downstairs. I've never heard, she said, emphasizing each word. Heard my husband yell in that manner, "Get down here, right now," she said. Brian came upstairs, half-dragged the groggy-headed Daniel down the stairs, and the 3 of them huddled by the fridge in the kitchen, as the house had no basement. I'm telling you, that's the only part of the house that is untouched. She describes a wild scene on the main floor as Daniel scrambled to find Lola the blind dog, a 6-pound ball of fur. Windows were breaking, splintered lumber was flying through the air. The roof was airborne. In a couple of minutes it was all over. Outside our neighbor's home was nothing but a ragged foundation, but for now the family is trying to regroup. They're renting the house on Thomas A. Dolan Parkway while waiting for construction to finish their new home they've bought in Constance Bay. It seems minor by comparison, but they do not have content insurance on their possessions. Loden, who has slept badly all weekend, is not beyond finding humor in the calamity. A friend of mine was joking when she said, "I will never live beside you. This is following us." I said to our builder, "I feel like this is my fault." The residents of Dunroben, who were escorted into their homes on Sunday to receive essential items and keepsakes, are resident lot. Greg Patrick, president of the Dunroben Community Association, a volunteer position, spent all weekend trying to support his friends and neighbors. This is definitely not a short-term fix here. We're looking at weeks and months. He said he was overwhelmed with the response from firefighters and other first responders on Friday night. Outpouring of the community ever since. Dunroben will bounce back and it will be rebuilt and will be stronger for it, he said. There's a lot of heartache, but it expressed in hope. The Loden family, meanwhile, is now looking for rental accommodation until their new home is ready next spring. Nicole is adamant that they will all be together. We're not being separated, not after all this. What a beautiful story, but now we realize not how life is. And we are living in a time when we know anything can change in a heart's beat. Thank you for watching.